Right, welcome back. Just a quick glimpse into what our show is about today. Lots of prizes to be won. Actually, two opportunities. I'm going to ask you a question, and if you get it correctly, I'm going to give you a prize. One of them actually is tickets for the air show, and that includes, of course, the bash, which is going to start from, I think, 7 to 4.
4.
Something like that, okay? And lots more to it. But right now, let's get into our social hour, which is our social discussion. How do you mend a broken heart? How do you mend a broken relationship? We're joined by our guest. She's back again. Rachel, it's good to see you. Mutu mupia anaitwa Pastor bro. Pastor, karibu sana.
Pleasure, Jimmy.
Of course, Remy.
What's up? Yes.
Let me start with you, Rachel. How do you mend? How easy is it to mend a broken relationship?
A broken relationship is a relationship that is in pieces. So when something is in pieces, it has to be brought up together. And
Is it possible?
It is possible, and it is not an easy thing to do. So the first thing that one should think about is, how do you go about it? Because for one, most people deny. They don't want to face the reality that the relationship is broken. How am I going to go about it? So the first thing is to accept it is broken. Yes, and now that it is broken, what am I supposed to do? Because that is where people don't really accept that this is the reality.
But
and now,
what would you call a broken relationship? One that kind of survives. So you live in a house and you say you don't want to divorce or separate because of the kids. So you kind of just leave. You're like what do you call it? Roommates or housemates, but there's nothing. Is that a broken relationship, or is a broken relationship one where you mumeachana, wewe umeenda zako, huyo ameenda zake? Is that a broken relationship, or is this other one what it is, Pastor?
Okay, Jimmy.
And can you fix either?
Let me start from afar off a bit. Man is a social being.
Yes.
And
Woman?
no, when I'm saying man, I'm
you
saying
mean everyone?
both male and female. Or a human being was
Yes.
created as a social person by God, who is also a social person. And therefore, we are relational.
Nice.
And the truth of the matter, a human being cannot live outside relationships. Therefore, it's very important to understand that when you are in a relationship and it is broken, you hurt.
True.
Because we were created as social beings to relate.
That's true.
And when it is broken, that relationship, you'll have to look for another relationship. And if especially with the area of marriage, to substitute
What is missing? Or
what is missing,
or what is
because
broken?
Exactly.
That's
How,
very interesting.
yeah, how easy is it? So these are two people
Yes.
who obviously fell in love when they met, got married and committed to stay together through thick and thin, better for worse, sickness and health, the works. And then after some time, they can't stand each other. They can't, for whatever reason, infidelity, financial issues, those things that just make marriages not work.
Jimmy, one thing that
Can
should
you
know-
fix that?
Yes, one thing that people should know is you could be living together and still the relationship is broken. Because some people say that we live together, but we are not. There is no.
Yeah, we live together for the kids.
For the kids, we want to bring up the kids, but we no longer relate. There is no that intimacy. There is no
Right.
that closeness with the two partners. So you find that you could be living together. Yes, people are seeing you together, but there is no relationship. The relationship is already broken.
And Rachel, is that also a sense of familiarity? Because 20 years or 30 years with some people, I mean, that's a very long time. Right now, in our generation, when you hear that, you're like, wow, you mean you
yeah,
guys have
exactly.
been together for that long? How do you do it? So, a friend of mine was telling me, with that familiar aspect of couples being so familiar to each other can also bring that, it's already broken. Like, I can't leave you. We invested too much together, so let me just stay.
Sote tukae tu.
you know?
Mimi niwe na kampango wa kando, wewe una story yako.
No, we have
There you
to,
go.
no, we have to understand that within this, any relationship, be it a husband and a wife, be it a brother with a brother, be it friends, they are in levels. And deeper the relationship, the deeper the heart in case it breaks.
Yes.
So we have to understand that. So even in a relationship that pertains to marriage, you discover it depends with how much one have invested in it. You have taken, like when you are building a house, you have to, the price you have paid for it. And so if somebody had given themselves to it so much, you find when it breaks, they tend to hurt more. For example, the spouse, the two spouses, if the husband had given more to it, because at times you find two people can be in a relationship, but one is more committed than the other. Are you getting me? Because there's somebody who has...
So you can never find two people who are committed. It's very rare.
Because at times we might come into a relationship, but you find somebody has got an escape route. He did not come totally saying, in case it happens like this
But
and like that.
Pastor, Jimmy just said something right now. Is it that in almost all of them that you'll find each partner or one partner not very committed as the other?
Yeah. Is that rare?
That's true?
Rachel?
It's
like you'll find two people who are committed. Or is it normal to
Yeah.
have one who's, like Pastor said, 100%, you kopale ndani, yeah, depend. Ule mwingine, yeah.
Okay, this depends with individuals because some relationships, some people are very committed, both of them.
Both of them.
Others, one is committed, the other one is not committed. Others, all of them are not committed. They're just there to bring up the children. So we are looking at the fact that you are living together and you're not in terms. You're not really in closeness.
Right.
So what we are saying is they are supposed to accept the situation and think
that we are
how
broken.
are we? Yes, it is broken. We are no longer in terms as we used to be in the beginning. How are we going to go about it? What are we supposed to do so that we may come back as the way we were in the beginning? So that is what people should focus on.
To add it to that, you have to understand something. These two people who are coming to a relationship, they come from a background. And we are shaped by our past. For instance, if a lady comes to this relationship and, for instance, he saw the father abuse the mother or abandon them, he's coming with a plan B. I will not allow that which happened to my mom to happen to me. And so maybe he's there when he starts smelling and seeing some movements like the ones the father was making towards the mother, he'll begin also to shut. I get me.
I see what you mean.
That's why you find a man who maybe came from a family whereby the father was an abuser. You find he might hate to abuse, but he does not know any other way
So he abuses.
to go about it. So he'll abuse.
And Pastor, my question is this: how do you deal with now those backgrounds, the reality with the backgrounds? Because no one chooses where they come from. And for example, if it's an abusive relationship or a lady who has no trust in whatever way, and they're coming in together, but they've never dealt with those issues. When the relationships, they're older, they have their own kids, and right now their demons are coming up and sneaking up on them. So how do you deal with such a family where the brokenness is beyond, no one
Beyond
has ever dealt
fixing.
with it? Yes.
You're asking for these spouses or because of where they're coming from?
The spouses.
The spouses themselves. Let's be honest. There's a time a relationship, again, it depends with the degree and the level to which one has been injured in the relationship. Are you getting me?
Yes.
So depending with the depth of the wound, and some wounds will take a process to heal, but there's some wounds that will just force the two of you to go apart, and then you go and heal the other place because the two of you none of you has got the remedy that can bring the healing, or one of you is ready for the healing and to forge forward, but the other person, he feels that now he can no longer continue these things because, again, trust has been broken. And you see, it takes time. It's a process of time to bring trust. And you see, once trust has been broken, again, it will need like constructing a house again, going back to the foundation. It might take years again to build it.
So
Let me add something on
yes,
that.
Exactly, yes.
And that's why I said, from the word go, the most important thing is
to accept.
Accept. The relationship is broken. Because when the both of you accept, or the parties accept that it is true we are not relating as we are supposed to, that is now the starting point.
Exactly.
We accept it is broken. And then you start working towards mending the relationship. Because there are steps that you should follow as you mend this relationship. Because it's not an easy thing. As we say, building love is hard, but breaking it can just, within a very seconds, the love is broken. So one thing is acceptance. The second thing is avoid blame game. Because most people blame each other. If the two of us, we have collided, we're not in terms. If it's the husband, for example, he'll be saying, it's my wife who did this. It's my husband who did this. So the most important thing, the both parties stop blame game. Accept we are responsible.
Is that easy to do?
First
It's
of all,
not easy. It's not an easy thing to do because everyone would want to justify yourself. No one wants to be on the long. So everyone would want to say it is the other person. It's the other person.
It takes to add on to that, Jimmy, it takes two force anything to work or to break. So for any relationship to work or for any relationship to break, it has taken the two. Maybe one might have just directly done it or get involved, the other one indirectly, but it has taken the two of you. Therefore, each person must become responsible and accept the role he played for the breaking of the relationship. Instead of blame game, you know, at times I will blame her and she will live also in denial. Sometimes we live in denial or we do what? We refuse to accept the responsibility that I was involved in it.
Let me ask this, because healing is a process
Yes.
that must begin first with accepting what you did or speaking
You own it.
about what somebody did to you know, what the partner did. Because Rachel, you said another thing one must do is stop the blame game, and I agree with you totally. But then how do you get to that process where, I mean, for me to forgive somebody or for me to be forgiven and accept that yes, I was in the wrong and must forge forward in terms of our relationship, shouldn't I speak about my pain? Shouldn't I speak about why I became non-committed? Why I blame you?
Yes,
for,
it is very important to
You know?
speak what made you feel that you are hurt. Because when you don't speak, when you suppress the feelings, you suppress the emotions that you have, that this person hurt me, and you don't speak it out, you really not healing. You are not doing anything. Because the first process of healing, it is you speak out. And that is now where we are talking about acceptance. You speak, you sit down, you speak, you dialogue with your partner.
You
At
say,
least
"Mazuri nikosea,
yes,
you
you
this,
did this
you
to me
did
and I
this,"
didn't
and
feel good, and I would want you to do this, to follow this route. Another thing that is very important in a relationship, it is you understand the other person's personality. Because most people correct for things that even are not really genuine. Because if you understand me with my personality, you'll be able to live with me. But most
Yes,
people don't
yes.
understand the type of a person you're living with. So once you're well informed, I'm living with such type, with this person, with this personality, you'll be able to cope. Because definitely people behave differently, depending on your personality.
Pastor-
Let me add something to that, what you have said, because you have asked about forgiveness. Let me say, forgiveness is very important, both the person who has been hurt and the one who has been the cause of the hurt. Forgiveness, because it's a therapy. And
It
you
is.
know, even for the person who
It is.
has been hurt, you have hurt me. The reason why I should forgive, more so it's not because of you, but because of myself. Because when you are holding the bitterness, it has got
makes you sick.
repercussions. It's a
Exactly, that's
venom,
true.
it's a toxin that now begins to eat me and not you. Therefore, the most important reason why I should forgive you, even at times when you have not asked for the forgiveness, is because myself, I want
for
to be
me,
free.
it's for you.
It's for me. So you have to understand that forgiveness, wherever you are forgiving your wife, first and foremost, it's not that you are setting her free. You are setting yourself free.
Exactly, and then
Are you getting
the
it?
load that they
You are
have over
setting
you is
yourself
actually
free
not
because
strong.
it has got repercussions that it will begin to eat. And that's why you find some people, they end up in depression, or you find somebody ulcers, those kind of things, and they are bitter, and then they begin to live in isolation. And the reason why, when you refuse to forgive, peradventure this relationship did not work, when you go to the other relationship, you'll find the same thing is following you because you have not worked it out.
And Pastor, just on that point, there's also a twist. Remember, there are those people who, of course, when they're hurting, they always blame themselves more. Like what Jimmy said. You know, sometimes, yes, things happen in a relationship, but like you said, when you're speaking about your pain and what you feel, some people always say, I think I caused it, I think Nini, and especially women, they always end up blaming themselves. So how do you also address a lady or a man who is taking up all the blames of what she did not do, and yet the partner did? Just a second, we have a phone call. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, please tell us your name with your question or comment.
Okay, I have just a comment. I'm calling from Mombasa, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, on my side, I can say that to forgive someone, it's not a crime. Everybody, kila mtu anafanya makosa hapa na pale, lakini ukimsameana, sisi unapata kama hata hiyo load ambayo uko nayo kwa mili inaisha.
Kwa vile pasa amesema.
Me on my side, I appreciate if someone show me the best solution, the best thing to do Just forgive, and then you move on. Than that you stay with that thing hata ukimwona mtu unamwona hivi kumwangaliana ni kama mtu anataka kupiga mtu. So you can just recommend somebody to just forgive,
Napata.
Just forgive someone and then you move on.
Well done. Asante sana. Asante sana. You said forgiveness is the beginning.
Yes,
of
the
healing.
process.
In fact, it's better for you as a person who's been hurt.
Yes.
Does it have a definite time or process, or because once you forgive, is it an assumption that once you forgive, it automatically begins the healing, or because there's some people we know who will tell you, I mean, yes, I've forgiven you, but hey.
First of all, I want to address maybe the question that Lemmy have asked about this person who is blaming himself or herself.
Yes, all the time, yeah.
First of all, you have to accept the truth and the reality that it has taken to, okay, there was a role that you might have played, but don't act a victim. Because the more you act a victim, the more you sink into the problem.
Okay.
Don't make,
that's powerful.
Don't make yourself a victim. Accept, listen to me. First of all, it's good, you come out of the problem to analyze it. Are you getting me? You say, this is me, and this is what is happening.
Let me come out and look
Let
at
me
it
come
from the
out so
outside.
that you can be able to see it from both angles, or all angles. Then you own your mistake, and then you ask yourself, which is the way forward? And then you allow the other person also to own the contribution he has made to this problem. And that's how now the process of healing can begin. When I own my mistakes in the relationship, and the other partner owns the problem, the relationship, then we can come together and say, now what is the way forward? But when one has got a victim mentality, whereby he is the victim, and the other one sees as though I'm the cause of the thing. And I'll say this, as a pastor, I've seen this. Many times when marriage relationships are not working, women are the first to blame themselves. What did I do? What am I doing wrong? Am I missing it as a good wife? And maybe no. Maybe this person has come into this marriage, on this relationship, with some other problem. There could be primary problem or secondary problem, because sometimes as the relationship goes by, there's some secondary issues that can affect the marriage. But you find this lady will keep on blaming herself, and the more she's blaming herself, the more she's sinking into the whole thing, and we find now she begins to become bitter.
Let me add something on that. What Pastor is saying, he's saying most ladies blame themselves. To some extent, it is true. Because ladies, for example, in a marriage, women are responsible even for making the marriage work. Because even in the Bible, if I may say, that the women are only responsible. Because you'll be a me witness, Pastor, that we as women, we have a very big role, even to pray in the society. And that's why we always campaign for the women being informed. Because once a woman is well informed, definitely even family life will be okay. So the reason as to why most women feel that they are failed, it's because they know they're the ones who are supposed to stand at the gap. I really don't say that the men are not supposed to do anything, but I'm saying the women have a very big role to play.
And
for example, even the culture allows the women that they are the ones that should
But let me ask, like now you've got, so we're in a sort of an equal, we assume we're in an equal society. Yes. Both parties have got good jobs. Both parties are very well, in terms of opportunities for women, it's now on an equal balance. And then many people, and of course, this affirmative action for women has given women a sort of place in society. But unfortunately, what happens is, even in a marriage, it seems like we're still we're competing. How much of that breaks or makes it difficult in a broken relationship? Or just hold on to that one. Because there are too many voices in my head. Oh, yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Too many
Yes,
voices in my head. I think I'm going crazy. Yes. How much of that makes it difficult? And you people have spoken to many couples who are either trying to connect back together or are finding it difficult to make a decision in terms of whether to separate or not. How much of this newfound freedom for women makes it difficult to mend a broken relationship?
It is true. These things have become a challenge because when the women are empowered at times and they're not able to use the power in a proper way, it can become a threat even in
Because
the
now it's a
family.
competition, you know.
Yes,
You know,
because
what
if-
a man can do, a woman can.
If the woman is not well informed of her positions and what she's supposed to do, as wealthy as she is, or as in that position as she is in, it can be a problem. So we are campaigning for the women should be well informed that I'm in position, I'm wealthy, yes, I'm comfortable where I am stable, but I am supposed to remember I'm still a wife, I'm still a woman who should be very submissive, maybe to my husband, to the society. I should be the role model. So the women should know that as much as we are at the same level with men, maybe financially, maybe job-wise, it is important to know we as men,
Absolutely.
as women.
Let me
yes.
add
Hold
to
on,
that.
hold on to that. We have somebody who's who wants to ask you a question. What from you? Hi, good morning. Tell us your name and what your question or comment is.
Hello,
Hey,
my name is Wangeshi.
why can't you speak a bit louder? You sound like you're somewhere kitandani, umejifunika na duve moja warm.
Hello,
Better. Yes, hello.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now, Wageshi.
Okay, I'm in a relationship
Yes.
with my husband. Mostly we don't communicate in the house. And when we communicate, he doesn't want me to tell him anything my on side of my family. He has good salary. He does not give me my personal allowances. I'm just a housewife.
Wow.
I usually tell him to get me money to do a business. He said that I'm not lacking anything. But
But you got the gist of it, though.
Yes, let me. Can I start a bit far, kidogo, so as you might get understanding, Jimmy? You see, in every other profession, people go to school for training. I believe you're here, you have taken time to be trained, maybe even for 4 years. Yet you discover marriage as an institution that is meant for life.
Has no.
Has no
There's no
school.
kole.
It's very sad that there is no school where people go. And even in the church where we try to facilitate, to counsel people, you find maybe there are 15, like our church, we give around 15 to 16 lessons. And now, if you're expecting now these 16 lessons to make you become a gukora shosho in a marriage, it's a lie. Are you getting me? And the problem is that many people enter into this marriage without having prepared themselves. Are you getting me?
I see what you mean. Yes.
And because they come into it without having prepared themselves, without even knowing the responsibility.
Right.
And because they don't know the responsibility, abuse starts in either way. So it's first of all, very important for somebody to understand why I am in marriage. And to add what she was saying, marriage was never meant for competition.
No.
It is
companionship.
Companionship and to complement one another. When a couple enter into a relationship, each person comes to complement the other person so that the marriage can be strong. And only fools will begin fighting each other and feeling threatened by the other one. Instead, I always, wherever I'm talking to couples, I like using the analogy of the football. I love Arsenal. That's the team. Are you getting me? And I always say, the goalkeeper, the defenders, they are there to defend the goalkeeper. The midfielders are also there to hold the ball, and the attackers the same.
Right.
When the team has been defeated, they don't say it's the goalkeeper who allowed the goal.
No.
It is we.
It's a team effort.
It
yes.
is the team effort. And so when a marriage is not working, it's not the woman, it's not the man, it is both of them. Because
Irrespective. It doesn't
irrespective of who did what, it's a team. And
So
that's
we
what,
fix it.
And that's why you find the scripture, and you'll discover the scripture says that a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife.
Yes.
And that's a very powerful. You know, those 3 words, they are verbs. You look at them. The verbs.
A man
Live,
shall live,
cleave, and become one flesh. When you look at that, the root word of that, living, it uses a very strong word. It says abandon. He shall abandon his side of the parents. Both of them abandon. Then they come and cleave. That cleaving is to weld or to glue.
Wow.
So somebody might have come to the marriage but he's still mama's boy. Anything...
Or somebody may have come to the marriage.
Is daddy's guy.
Hey.
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So when you come to a marriage, you want your wife to cook the way your mom was cooking. You have forgotten this is not your mama. This is your wife. Or you want this man to love you the way your dad used to love the mom. You have forgotten, no. It can't work like that.
Wait, go back. You want this man
to love you the way your dad loved your mom. It can't work.
Why not? That's a good example.
No, the reason being, these are different persons. Are you getting?
The
So
way
the two of you, you must now begin to define your own relation because you have left to cleave.
Wow, that's powerful.
You know what?
That's powerful.
But I also have this other twist. With that also happening, most people, it's natural because you want to see an aspect of your mother or your aspect of your father in that kind of relationship. Now, that connected, what about people who have stayed together for so long? You know, since now they're not working on anything and they're also not willing to work on whatever. So they have this rebounds. They're in a relationship, but, you know, it's not just a mpango wa kando. It's actually just, you know, you're bouncing off to someone else because this institution is a bit too hard to handle. So how do you handle such, you know, couples? How do you handle such situations where you're already rebounding and you're in a relationship?
The most important thing...
Rachel, just wait a bit.
Follow
We
that,
have a
yes,
phone
yes.
call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, please tell us your name with your question or comment.
Yes, I'm enjoying the program.
Thank you.
Yes, I thank God for what Pastor is doing and the show as well. There is one thing I want to comment about unforgiveness.
Yes.
You see, unforgiveness is like you taking poison and expecting your spouse to die.
Wow.
It cannot work. So what will happen?
Just repeat that again. Repeat that again.
Continue to have bitterness because your spouse did something. It is you who is wearing down. It is you who is getting complete worn out.
Wow.
So we have to sit down, remove the poison from your system, and then your marriage will blossom. Marriage is not something that was ordained to fail. It is something that was ordained by God to flourish. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow, Andrew. That was powerful.
I was saying-
Unforgiveness is like taking poison and
waiting for the other
expecting the other guy
person
to die.
Yeah, so Rachel,
Wow.
I think we can, you know, answer the question and address what he's just said, which is very deep.
Powerful.
To answer that question, the most important thing in a relationship is communication. Because once you don't communicate,
Kusha.
you are going nowhere. Because if you don't tell me how you're feeling, if you don't tell your partner how he or she is how you're feeling, definitely you're not doing anything. I want to address what Wangeshi, there's a caller who said she's Wangeshi. It's good that she realizes that they are not communicating, which is a very dangerous thing in a relationship. The most important thing is to communicate, regardless of what has been done to you. Right. Because when you don't communicate seriously, hakuna kitu unafanya. So, Wangeshi said she's not communicating, and she should know, and other people should know that communication, some people communicate to be heard, talk to be heard. They don't talk to be understood.
To be heard.
Yes, to
Kusikika.
be heard. Kusikika.
You
don't want to be understood. And other people want to be understood. They don't want to understand other people. That is, in your partner, you are the one who want to be understood. You don't want to understand the other person. So the most important thing is, as you communicate, learn to understand the other person. Don't wait, I am the one who should be heard. I am the one who should be understood. You should understand first for you to be understood by the other person.
Just to add into that, in order for these people to communicate and to be able to understand one another, there has to be that security and trust. Remember, when you look at when God introduced marriage, because as the caller have said, it was God who introduced or instituted marriage. It was not man. This man, by the name of Adam, was doing about his business. Then the Bible says, God saw it was not good for a man to be alone. Let me make for him a companion, a helpmate, suitable for him.
Oh, wow.
Suitable for him.
Suitable.
So this woman who is coming
was suitable for
is suitable. So Jimmy, your wife,
is suitable,
for Jimmy, not for your brother or your father or for any other man, for you. And the one great truth you find from it that people need to understand so that they can be free to
Yes.
communicate without seeing each other as an enemy. It says, and both man and the woman were in the garden, and they were naked, and they were not ashamed. The problem why many marriages don't work, people are not naked. Nakedness can connote just being without clothes, but naked in everything.
Everything.
Hey,
You
okay.
tell.
I'm getting
Expose
naked.
yourself.
Hey.
Exactly.
Nina Kuja-
Being naked in marriage, whereby
Everything is
Everything is
al-
laid on
my
the table.
listen, that I can allow my wife to critique me, but I know she's doing so because she loves me. She can tell me, honey, today your sermon was good. But next time you can say, today you did not match up to the standard.
Where nini haujui kupreach?
Are you getting me?
Yeah.
Today you did not do your homework very well. Are you getting me?
Allow them.
I'll shrub and I'll take it nicely. Are you getting me? So the problem is that many a times when people are in the marriage, when you are being told about your problem, you think this person, you mistaken it to be an attack. So you either, or you close, you remove.
You're always on your defense.
Exactly. You can either, a mechanism like what the snail does,
Crawl back into the shell.
or the lion.
But do you think men do that a lot? They have that shell, you know, especially because, you know, again, the man's ego, you know, it's something very sensitive and at the same time something very big. So, and some women don't know how to speak to that ego or even how to address a man. Like, you know what, you're having a problem, A, B, C, D, but unamwambia vibaya. So he's already ready for defense. Like,
so learn how to say it properly.
That's
Yeah.
why
Yes.
Rachel said, understanding your spouse's personality. There's a way you can say something, you are criticizing somebody, but in a good way where it will be taken positively. You can talk to somebody without insulting them or abusing them or reducing them to be, because for example, you can address somebody, she has done something, but when you start now telling her, you are behaving like a small girl, your daughter. I mean, already you have reduced. You have not addressed the problem, but you have had the person. So there's a way to address the problem without attacking the person.
Let's take a break as we marinate on those very powerful words from Rachel and Pastor in terms of how to use the words of the Bible and understand them. But they know it's very simple. It's just how you put them together. 20001 is the SMS number you can call if you have any comments or questions and you're unable to get through. These other numbers, 0706636525. The other ones, these other ones I can't always remember. This one I can, this one I can't. We take a short break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Right, welcome back. Wow, powerful words from our pastor and of course Rachel as well. And as far as how to simplify, really, it's not that complicated. We just make it. Your thoughts on 20001? That's the SMS number, and of course at K24 TV, Twitter and Facebook, K24. So let's sample some of those all together. Twitter, Nyoike. It is possible to amend if they are aware what caused it and learn from it. True. Kingori, mending broken relationships. Can people really mend, trust, and come back together without feeling remorseful? That's a question for you, Pastor and Rachel. Can people come back together after breaking trust without feeling remorseful? Teresa, yes and no, because it depends on several factors and variants. Explain, Teresa, explain. Okwomi, it's not easy to mend because it ain't easy to forget after forgiving. It's going to take a long time. True, it's not an event, very true. Obadiah, it depends with the depth of the wound. Mending, this is Nobeman. Restoring trust is hard. Mending what has been broken is harder. Relationships die of ego, attitude, and ignorance. True. Chanel, some things can be forgiven, but once the trust is lost, then the relationship has ended. Ooh, okay. Steve Guts, nope, it was lost and that's history in the archives. Yaliyopita si dwele, tugange, noma, yajayo. Tugange is Kiswahili, name? Tugange.
Tugange in Kiswahili.
What does it mean?
To
Forge.
We tuchambue.
Oh, to Chambwe. Okay, we forge ahead. Okay, so. Odhiambo. Morning, I'm Paul from CIR County. It's so difficult because the trust won't be there. So hard to retrust again after a letdown. Lastly, Damautino. Breaking every mug and plate in the room is how you solve it. Remy.
Right, Jimmy, just before you leave the wall, bitterness. The guy you called earlier on said something very deep. Taking poison, expecting someone else to die. Now, from the calls we got, I think on Tuesday, was it Monday? I think Tuesday or so, of a lady who said, yes, she's married, but, you know, she left her husband in the U.S. She's, you know, back in Kenya. And you can see she's very hurt.
Very bitter.
You know, and, I mean, by all means, whatever happened to him, sure really hurt her. But remember, the same thing is happening to her son. He's not very happy in his marriage. And he's not at all advocating for anyone at all to get married, because I mean it's nonsense to her, there's so much pain in it. So how do you tell someone like that who's seen pain in her life, then she's seeing the same pain in her son's life, and for her it's a no-go zone?
Absolutely. And I'm hoping she's watching this show, because as Pastor said, you know, every woman is different for every man. So like my wife was suited for moi. So long as I understand what all those means, and especially in terms of what, you know, I shall abandon my mom or my first family, and connect or cleave to my wife, it means that no matter what happens, that's the most important. We must together fix it. And something else the pastor said is that, you know, so different relationships with different people. Don't expect me to love you the way your father loves you. You know what I mean? So for the lady who called us last time and said, you know, she told her son, you know, forget this marriage, you know, these things, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, wrong advice. You know, all relationships are different. Let your son let your son go and benefit from the choices out there. You just say, these are mistakes I did. Don't do these mistakes. Maybe, you know, you need to learn somebody before you commit. Maybe there's something wrong in there. But, you know, saying that, you know, no, you know, forget this thing about marriage, it doesn't work, so everyone live happily ever after, I don't think so. Especially for listening to our two guests today, spot on. Back to you, Remy.
Right, Jimmy. Now, my question is to you, Rachel and Pastor. You know, the thing is, it's always very, very interesting that you'll find that people say forgiving is lame for the weak. They actually don't think it's the other way around, that you know you are actually that you're actually the one who's hurting. yeah, like Jamie said, you're a wuss. Like, why would you want to forgive someone? Do you remember what he did? He did this and that and that and that and that. You know, why would you want to forgive? So how do you explain or tell someone, you know, forgiveness is actually making you the stronger person, not the other person? How do you explain to people who actually already believe that you're such a weak person for forgiving A, B, C, D?
One thing that I would want to say, that in the living that you're living today, people will hurt you. You meet so many people hurt you, apart from now your partner.
So true,
but you have a choice. That when people wrong me, do I get hurt or I don't get hurt? So it's a choice. Being hurt is a choice. It's for
Being
me
hurt
to
is a
choose.
choice.
Yeah, it is a choice.
How?
I'm the one to choose whether I'm going to feel the pain. Because you may hurt me, but at the same time, I take that you've not done anything. So it is even for your own good, for not carrying the weight. Yes, you have wronged me, but I don't have to carry the whole weight that you have wronged me. Now I can't go on with my businesses, I can't go on with my job simply because somebody did wrong to me. So what we try to do is we empower people that it is my choice. I don't have to be hurt by everything. And still I should ask myself, is this thing that is hurting me, is it worth to hurt me?
Worth the hurt, yes.
Is it worth the hurt? And what harm am I doing to myself by being hurt by this issue? Another thing that I would want to address is, it is important that you look at what has been said to you, because what has been said to you, it doesn't matter. But how it is said is what matters. Because
how you say it.
Yes, how you say it is what matters. Because I may tell you, for example, you're mad. But the way I put it across, it will be, at times become a joke. Because I'm telling you you're mad and then I laugh. Eventually you just, this is just a joke. But how you say, so that's why I'm saying how you say it is very important. Because you may be saying a very mighty word, but you just put it in a very smooth way.
There's something you said, Rachel, which is still, you know, is very profound, that it is important for you to understand the other person's demeanor. If, for example, your wife has a certain trait, a certain type of a character, personality.
Yes.
Learn to work around it, not try and criticize and say, maybe I made the wrong decision, whatever. But before you comment, that's and I need to expand a lot more, and especially in terms of mending that broken relationship. You look at this, before you answer that, Njoroge amekatika. Njoroge nimepiga story sana bao akakata simu, ama nikutumie airtime. Call Njoroge, I know you had an important question. Cool. So,
what I learned to address on personality, it is important. And that's why Pastor said there should be training before marriage. Because these things will really enable you.
And they are training, but evidently they don't work.
They don't attend.
They don't work.
The important thing, even if you've not attended, because some have never attended, but the ones that have not yet married, they will attend. I believe
and
that.
Good ones.
And good ones. What they should do, even if you didn't attend those trainings.
Is Njoroge
back?
Is Njoroge back on? Njoroge, okay, sorry.
What is important is understand the other person. Sit down with this person. Look at this person in a keen way and know what this person would want to be, how this person would want to be treated. Because once you live with somebody, it is good you learn this person. This person gets annoyed this way. This person wants to be treated this way. And by this, you'll avoid so many collisions. And this is
what if that trait is also detrimental to the relationship? In this regard, you'll find somebody who has and maybe this stems from how he or she was brought up, and has a certain attitude, that is part of his or her character, but it can be a danger to the relationship. How do you work around that?
This is the way we are saying the other spouse should be well informed on issues pertaining personality. Because, Jimmy, the way you behave is not the way Pastor behaves.
No.
And the way your wife behaves is not the way I behave.
No.
So you should know, my partner behaves this way. My partner wants to be treated this way. My partner, this is lifestyle. For example, we have the people we call the cholerics. Cholerics, you find there are people they like working. And you find that maybe she has been married to somebody, to a lady who wants, maybe she's a sanguine. Sanguines are people who like a lot of attention. This person is always busy doing his work. And this lady wants a lot of attention. You find there's a lot of collision. This lady may be complaining. My husband does not have time for me. But it is his nature. He's just created like that. He's to work.
So work around it.
Yes. So you're supposed to understand, my partner is this way. So I should live with him. I should understand him. He's busy. He's just out to work. Not for
Sanguine,
and
choleric.
to add into that, what many people forget after they enter into the marriage, Jimmy, the first thing attracted you to your wife is the difference he has from you.
Yes.
Those are the things that attract us to each
the other
other.
person, yes.
Unfortunately, after we have entered the house, the same things that made you chase after her or her falling for you, now you are now complaining about. Now that's the problem. Now you have to understand that, again, marriage is like a garden. And a garden, it's whatever you allow to grow that will grow and reach maturity.
However, let me ask you something. However, so if at some point, what attracted you to that person becomes a danger to your relationship, how should you handle it?
Maybe because you didn't understand it better. At that time, it looked very attractive.
Nice. You're like, wow,
right.
it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the Bad Boys would be a good example, but this guy who has this donkey attitude. It could be any character that is attractive, but when it comes to relationship, the person takes advantage. Anyway, so you knew me the way I am before we got married. So now why are you complaining?
Right.
But that character,
Yes.
which was attractive before, or wasn't you're like, you know what, I'll fix that. Now becomes a poison to your relationship.
Right.
How then do you handle that?
Time is really bad.
How then do you handle that? Yeah. As a final comment.
As a final comment, what I started by saying that this person have to understand that this marriage is supposed to be a marriage like a team, whereby we are supposed to bring our strengths into it. And because you want...
Strengths and weaknesses, or just strengths?
No, weaknesses are there. But we work on our weaknesses because every person has got weaknesses. There's no perfect person. But you will discover something. If people can measure on the strengths, because, Jimmy, you have to sit down and write your spouse's strengths. They are more, maybe 3 times even or 10 times than the weaknesses. So if we can measure on them, and then I've discovered something. As you work on your strengths, you discover your weaknesses tend to diminish and to go down. So if you can work on your strengths, then you permit the other person to speak into your life and more so into those weaknesses to help you become that which he desires you to become.
Very nice.
And of course, how you say it.
How you say it.
Rachel?
Fix my weaknesses in a somber sort of manner. Rachel?
There's something that I always say, that once you feel that the love is fading, try commitment. Because once you become committed, yes, I don't have any feelings, because love is a feeling and it's an emotion. If I feel I don't have that feeling any longer, try commitment. Because once you're committed to your duties, if it is a husband, you're committed in the house, the commitment will start bringing back the feeling, and the feeling will bring back the love.
Commitments to what? To responsibilities.
Commitment to your partner. Now that
marriage
I'm
as
feeling
institution.
I don't have the feeling of love, and I'm feeling it has really offended. You try being committed. Yes, I am committed. She's my wife. This is my family. I'm here for them. This will enable you to bring back the feeling slowly.
And it's not every time, Jimmy, you feel you love your wife. I've been married now, it's going to 17 years. Not every day you wake up, woo, that you love your wife.
Is that a bad thing?
It's not. And that's what I'm saying. At times, we want to be having these feelings every time. You see, the early years of marriage, like this thing, like a feeling, you know. But as you go by, at times...
You do.
But there has to be commitment on it. Are you getting it? Because not every time you will feel you love this lady, or not every time she will feel like...
I love this guy.
The feelings.
So if she wakes up and goes to work and leaves me asleep and the picky boots and it's a jam.
It's a jam.
Uh-huh.
Are you getting me?
I see what you mean.
Right.
We need to wind up. So, I mean, let me just say, I mean, it's those little things that, you know, actually, the funny thing, the reason why we're reacting the way we're reacting when they were speaking is because we're saying things that you really think about. But you don't know whether you're thinking it right or whether it's the right thing to do. Like what you're saying in terms of sometimes your partner may have certain traits or characters that may seem to be a hindrance in terms of empowering that relationship, but then you just have to work around it or work with it. For me, that's the most powerful thing.
That's very deep, Jimmy, and also the aspect of, you know, working on your strength. I believe, you know, before someone meets you halfway, work on yourself. That's always, you know, my thing.
Yeah.
You need to
once
get
you know
yourself.
once you know yourself.
Exactly. Know yourself, know your strengths. And then by the time you're meeting your partner halfway, you know, the job is much easier because you love who you are. You understand yourself. And then by the time you're trying to say, why didn't you do A, B, C, D? You're looking at him or her in a different perspective because you understand where they're coming from. Right. That's why when we end the show and we have more interviews to come, stay tuned.